Hey, this is Kev on the channel that makes you a real estate expert, and today I'm teaching you the 6 phases of the home selling life cycle. And when you're selling your house, it's very much like buying a house in the sense that there is a certain sequence or a correct order of steps in the process. We've broken these steps into 6 different phases, and those phases are prepare, activate, introduce, expose, coordinate, and close. So straight into the first phase of the life cycle, which is the preparing phase. In this phase of the life cycle, the first thing that you're going to want to do is to evaluate the market with your agent so that you can determine an intelligent pricing strategy. The next thing that you're going to want to do is actually physically prepare the house to put it on the market. This is where you might want to hire a professional cleaner to do a deep clean on your house, or a lot of people choose to have their home staged. And that will get you ready for photography. And that's a very important piece of the puzzle. Make sure that when you're selecting an agent, that you're selecting an agent who is going to hire a professional photographer to do the photography on your listing. And if your home has a lot of special features or high-end finishes, ask your agent if they can do a video of the property as well. The last phase of the preparation process is to actually build out the listing and the listing description. Your agent should do this on your behalf, and it's helpful if you ask them to send you the listing prior to publishing it to make sure that everything is to your liking and that you love the listing before it goes to the public. Next, you begin the process to activate your listing. You'll want to coordinate with your agent to prepare all of the necessary documents like seller disclosure statements, lead-based paint disclosure statements, and the general listing documents that are appropriate in your area. Another great practice is to print off your 12-month utility usage. The reason that I like to do this with my sellers is because it's very common that when a buyer is considering structuring an offer, that they are going to ask for the utility usage as part of the catalyst to help them make a decision. As a seller, you want it very easy for a buyer to make a decision to write an offer on your house. So it's great to have this kind of information already available to the buyer. It's also a great idea to actually begin to coordinate your mortgage payoff during this phase of the life cycle, because there's a lot less going on than there is in the back end of the transaction. Make sure that you have a spare key to give to your agent so that they can cut keys to put in the lockbox. And then your agent should be coordinating getting a lockbox on your doorknob, getting a for sale sign in the yard, and coordinating the actual rollout. In the next phase of the life cycle, your agent will be introducing your listing into the market of buyers and buyer agents. It's helpful if you have an agent who has a plan on how they are going to get your listing to the buyers in the market, whether it be through their own database, through an email blast, or some kind of social media campaign. Ask your agent what is their tangible plan to get your listing to the buyers and to get it to them right away. The other side of it is that your agent should have a plan on how to get your listing in front of other buyers' agents, because the buyers' agents are the people who are going to be more than likely connecting a buyer with your listing. I like to send any new listings that I have coming out to our entire office so that everybody knows prior to the listing actually being published to the public that I have a new listing and what kind of amenities that it has, just in case somebody in my office has a buyer that might be a great fit, because this could potentially drive a premium to my seller if a buyer has an opportunity to purchase the home prior to it going to market or concurrent to it going to market. Although I generally advise that most of my sellers opt for at least some market exposure to the general market prior to accepting an offer, but this tactic often is a great tactic to procure really premium offers for my seller clients. And the next phase of the home selling process is to expose your listing to the market. Now, this is the phase of the life cycle where you're actually introducing your listing into the ecosystem of buyers that might be looking for a home that is like your home. In this day and age, there are so many places that your listing can be featured. You want to make sure that your listing is going to be published in as many different places as possible. Make sure that your agent is listing your home in all of what we call the secondary websites. websites. These are websites like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, these type of websites. These are where most of the buyers are searching for homes. Another really great place to make sure that your listing is being published is in the major social media platforms. Facebook Marketplace, Instagram, Twitter, all of these different places where you might be able to reach a buyer or to reach somebody who knows a buyer. A lot of people are really turning to these type of platforms to find things that are for sale. Now, assuming that you've done the first 4 steps perfectly, theoretically speaking, you should have procured an offer, which would move you into the coordinating phase of the home selling life cycle. Now, what I mean by the coordinating phase of the life cycle is this is generally after you've received an offer, this is where you actually coordinate the deal. In this phase of the life cycle, you're going to be negotiating terms of the deal with the buyer, finalizing paperwork, making sure that the buyer is satisfied with their inspection, ordering and going through the appraisal process, and kind of getting the deal ready to move on to the closing phase of the life cycle. And the final phase of the home selling life cycle is to coordinate the closing. In this phase of the life cycle, generally the first step is to coordinate with all parties and the title company on what day and time will work for everyone to conduct the closing. Next, you'll want to make sure that the house is available for the buyer to do a walkthrough in most cases. Generally speaking, a buyer likes to do a final walkthrough, usually the day before or the day of closing, just as a formality to make sure that the house is in the condition they agreed to buy it in. You'll want to work with the title company to make sure that they have everything they need, like the mortgage payoff, the title insurance policy, and that everything is in place to go smoothly on the day of closing. And finally, you'll attend the closing. This usually takes about an hour for both the buyer and the seller to close. The seller usually has a lot less things to sign than the buyer does. Usually the seller and the buyer will close in different rooms and then all come together at the end to meet each other and have an opportunity to ask any questions and kind of explain different nuances about the house for the buyer. This is usually a great day and a lot of fun, and usually everybody's really excited and happy. And that's it. That's the 6 phases of the home selling process in sequence. So you want to prepare your listing, then activate it, and then introduce it, then expose it to the market, coordinate your deal, and then coordinate your closing. The 6 phases of the home buying life cycle. If you like these videos, please give it a like and share. And as always, thanks for watching.